Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I've decided to kind of switch gears, and instead of continuously to follow Stella's story, I wanted to try one of the Sims challenges. And the one I chose to attempt is the Three Little Sims. It sounds very similar to the Three Little Pigs because this challenge is essentially the same thing but with the Sims. I'm going to give you a brief overview, but if you want to learn more about the challenge, I will link the form that I found it in the description below. But what this challenge does is you take three Sims that are all related to each other and put them onto a lot, and then you see which Sim can succeed the best out of all three. And the way that it's a challenge is you can only play one Sim at a time per day. So if I play with Sim number one, I have to let Sim two and three do their own thing for that entire day. And then the next day I play with Sim 2, and the next day I play with Sim 3. And essentially, if something happens to Sim 1 or Sim 2, I cannot go help that Sim unless I am telling my other Sim that I am playing with to go help them. So, without further ado, let's play Three Little Sims.
All right, I'm going to introduce you all to the Sims we're going to be playing with today. We have Amber, we have Rose, and we have Alfred. And Amber is the first Sim I designed for this one, and I wanted her to be evil, and I wanted her to be a criminal because I thought that would add some pizzazz and shake up the lot a little bit. So I designed her, and then I wanted them all to be siblings. So I did by genetics and I did twin. I wanted them to be triplets, but there's not an option for that in genetics. So I hit twin for all of them in hopes that it will cause them to be triplets. It makes sense to me, but who knows? We'll see when they age up if I am correct on my thinking with that. So I designed Amber and then I had Rose and I wanted her to be the complete opposite of Amber. So I made her a secret agent and I made her like really on the good side. So maybe there'll be some scuffles between those two. And then I got to Alfred and I was like, well, I have Amber and I have Rose and they're complete opposites from each other. So how should I make Alfred? That was a tough choice on my part, but I decided I wanted him to be a writer so he could write stories about the issues of him being stuck in the middle of his two sisters and their opposite personality types. So, if you have any ideas for books that Alfred can write about his sisters and the shenanigans they get into, feel free to drop it in the comments below. I would love to incorporate some of your ideas into this challenge also. So once I got all of my Sims done, I went into the build mode. I bought them a lot of land. I think it's like 50 by 40 or 30 by 40. I can't remember quite which one I chose, but I got their lot of land and I started building their house. And this is the hardest part for me personally is building, as I've told you all in other videos of mine. I am still learning how to build in The Sims and I'm not great at it, but I try. And I've gotten a lot better than I was when I first started playing. Oh my goodness, when I first started playing, the houses looked terrible. And I thought they were looking really good until I like think back to them and I'm like, no, they were bad. They were really bad houses. But you live and learn, and the more you practice, the better you get. So I struggled a little bit with figuring out the houses. But in the challenge, if you read it in the if you follow the link in the description, it says that they can have a common eating area so they're not isolated from each other. And that's kind of what I did with this. They had to have the minimum stuff for their lot. So each of their houses have a bed and a bookshelf because in the challenge it says they can have a bookshelf. And then I had a common eating area for the Sims. And along with that thought process, I decided to give them a common bathroom too, where they have to run across the lot to get to the bathroom. I thought that might be funny and have some interesting things happen if they have to share a bathroom and I'll run across the lot there. So that's what I did. And then so they have three houses, a common kitchen area, and a common bathroom. It was really interesting getting the bathroom set up because I had no clue how I wanted to do that. I have the high school pack And so I had stalls that I could put into the bathroom, and that was my first thought. Was I was like, well, it would be like a public restroom. They have different stalls and a sink, and then I was like, well, then I'd have to build a different room for a shower, and I didn't really want to do that. So I decided just to do one straight bathroom with a shower and a sink and a mirror with the toilet. And so that's how I built the bathroom. And then I had to shrink their houses down quite a bit because I'm used to building one big house and I had to build three small houses. So that was interesting too. I decided to use the candles because once the houses are done, I had to get their money completely to zero and start playing. And so I was like, well, they can't really spend too much on electricity for their house because they won't have any money. And so that's what I did. And once you put them to zero, then they start earning money for themselves. And so then I had to set up an Excel spreadsheet, which worked really well. I know Excel pretty well, so I set up a spreadsheet to calculate their funds. So I have their income, any income they get from like fishing or finding rocks, and their work income, and then any money they spend. And at the bottom, it'll have the total that they've earned, how much they've spent, and then their grand total. And so any upgrades for their house will come out of that fund that they make. And then I'll just split the bills, I guess, divide the bills by three and just take the money out from my Excel spreadsheet for each one of them so I know how much they can spend on their house. Like I said, the goal of this challenge is just to be fun and see which sim can end up with the best family and like the most friends and the best house and the income, which one succeeds at life basically better than the other two. And so, if you have any thoughts on who's going to win this challenge, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'm a little biased towards Alfred. He's my favorite for some reason, probably because he's stuck in the middle between his two sisters and has to survive on a lot with a criminal and an agent at odds with each other. So I kind of want him to win. He's also an animal lover, and so he he makes me so happy. He finds random things and he gets so excited about it because I gave him the geek trait. And so he likes finding collectible items. He found frogs and I was so excited when he found some frogs to put in his house. He could have sold the frogs and I decided to not have him sell the frogs because I wanted him to keep them as pets because I'm weird and I like amphibians and lizards. Sparkplug's not out right now because he's still asleep. He needs to wake up some of these times when I video so he can come say hi to you all because I know he likes to be out when I'm doing the Sims channel, but he has such a weird sleep schedule. I mean, I do too, but maybe one of these days he'll come back out and say hi. Anyway, I had them all fishing, trying to get money. So far, Alfred's the only one that's gotten anything. He found a rock that was worth 50 simoleons, so that was pretty cool. I really like Alfred. He found some frogs too. I need to figure out how to get them to eat. Maybe I have them eat some of the fish they catch. They have no simoleons except Alfred. Alfred can eat today, I guess. The other two have to fish to get food because apparently the trash cans don't have anything that can find in them. So they have to find a creative way to actually get food today. Otherwise, they're going to starve, and this is going to be an extremely short game. Oh, goodness. Yeah. So, like, looking at them side by side, they look very opposite of each other, which was my original plan. Apparently, Rose is embarrassed from talking to her sister, which makes sense because she doesn't know how to communicate well with her opposite sibling. So we'll see how this goes. When Rose was fishing, Rose didn't really want to go fishing, and she was like, I think I might dislike fishing. And I was like, no, no, no. You can't dislike fishing, mainly because that's how you're going to get money to start with, and you need to eat. So she's going to be forced to keep fishing, and Alfred has two frogs. There's food on the table. You know, someone left food on the table. My Sims are going to come and just help themselves to this food because it's on the table and it's free for the taking. So that's what they're going to do because they're broke and they're hungry. Hopefully, whatever sim they took the food from is okay with them taking food. If not, I mean, we'll just say it was Amber's influence. She talked them into getting the food from the table. Yeah, that sounds about right. The criminal talked them into stealing. It's Summer's food. Summer's fine. She's okay with us taking her food. She's not mad at us at all. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting playthrough. The basis is you have to rotate between sims, so you only get a sim for a day. The reason I'm rotating like this right now is because I wanted to start at 8 a.m. on Monday just so I can remember easier which sim I'm on and what time I need to switch. And so it's Sunday, and I'm going to just switch evenly between all of them until 8 a.m. on Monday. And that's when I'm going to start playing by quote unquote the challenge rules, where I play with only one sim per game day and I can't control any of the other sims. This will be really interesting because I'm so used to just switching and helping the sims when they need help that choosing one sim for each day is going to be it's going to be a challenge for me. So we'll see how this goes. But that's why I'm switching between all of them right now is because it's Sunday and I really wanted to start Monday at 8 a.m. So that's the decision I personally made for this gameplay. You all can make if you want to make this challenge and try this challenge with your Sims. If you want to start right away, I would forget what time I have to switch, and 8 a.m. just sticks in my head a lot better than just a random time. So that's why I chose 8 a.m. for my start time on a Monday. We'll see what happens. Again, I haven't done a challenge before. This is my first one, so I'm really excited to see how this all plays out. I'm really hoping that Alfred can win at building friendships and family in a house much better than his two sisters that cause a lot of drama. Thank you all again for watching my Three Little Sims challenge. If you want to keep up to date with the triplets as they try to live on the same lot and interact with each other and see what all goes wrong throughout this challenge, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week.